So we'll try this again, shall we, dog? I've just done a little video and it only lasted 10 minutes because my the memory on my phone ran out. I've just done a big video, uploaded it to YouTube, then I deleted it on the camera, but I didn't empty recycling bin thing. So yes, yeah, video lasted 10 minutes of me waffling on, playing with the dog. So we will try that again. So this is a paranormal update. I've been feeling really unwell the last couple of months especially. So it's been a while since I made any kind of video except for the one I just mentioned. So this one's about the paranormal and how my plans have changed sadly. I'm still going to Liverpool in May. That's definitely 110% on. Meeting up with Kev, Mark Richards is going to be there as well. I'm going to offer to meet up with them for a spot of food beforehand. Me and Kevin normally do. Good to see Mark there as well. Williamson Tunnels I mentioned before in paranormal videos. Won't go into too much here. They are, as they sound, tunnels basically. All quarries that were then shored up with masonry, and then they were used as like a Victorian dump basically. And there's still quite a lot left as a dump. There's a lot of, it's not like rubbish as you'd expect it, it's mostly like soil now basically, with like bits, parts of plates and parts of cups and everything, rubbish basically from the Victorian era, so lots of old bottles and stuff like that. And a lot of that is still down there and they're still excavating parts of it. It'll be fascinating seeing what they've found already, and it'll be fascinating seeing what people, if any, say, I say mediums, but I know, I know that would upset some of them because some people don't like being called mediums or clairvoyants or clairsentients, or there's quite a large selection of titles, I suppose, to people like to be called when they're in that kind of field. You know what I mean? I don't want to offend anyone. I do sometimes purposely set out to offend people, to see what kind of reaction I can get because I'm a bit of a twat. But yeah, not on like a ghost hunt kind of thing. Even the ones who I know are talking bollocks, I'll quite happily just, all right, sounds interesting. But yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting seeing what people come out with basically. I mean, even ghosts wise, I've not actually read anything about any ghosts that are there. I think it's just a dark, eerie place. It's underground, so it'll be scary. So we'll see what happens basically. Pardon me. So yes, that's Williamson Tunnels. I'm not going to Jersey now in June with pigs. Unfortunately, I simply can't afford it, quite frankly. I've been, when I booked it up, I believed I could have afforded it. I bought the tickets 1 month, and then the plan was to save enough money for accommodation the next month pay for flights, the next month save up for spending money. Unfortunately, it's only a couple of months away now, and I've got, I don't have any money at all put aside for the accommodation, or the flights, or the spending money while I'm there. So I've knocked it on the head. I told Tim Brown, who is he's the gaffer at Pigs, and he is unbelievably graciously says, well, I told him that I don't want any money back for the tickets because it's a charity, to Anthony Nolan charity event, and in truth, I wouldn't, even if it wasn't, I wouldn't ask for the ticket price back because I feel as though I've let him down by not being able to go now. So he, like I say, very graciously said, well, you can have like a couple of tickets free for a couple of other events if you want. And kind of taken up on his offer. I've asked for a free ticket for Mitchell Priory in October, October 6th. It's fully booked up now. So that'll be good, but I won't. That'll be. I'll just ask for the one ticket, I think, because I still think it's a bit cheeky and a free ticket for that. I don't know, mate. I'll give it to a charity or something. The price of the ticket isn't that much, I don't think. So we'll see what happens. Mitchell Priory, I've been there a couple of times before, both with pigs. Love the place, absolutely adore the place. Now, I like it. It's the first place most haunted. Actually went to film an episode at. The first episode they ever released, episode 1, series 1, was Athelhampton House in Dorset. Slightly ironic in that the Martin family who used to own Athelhampton House, they are my ancestors, going way back the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s. Unfortunately, it's not in the Martin family anymore. The Martin family ended up with 3 daughters. The main stem of the family, the main branch of the family, ended up with 3 daughters, and the house itself and all the estates that they owned and everything was split between the 3 daughters and the people that they married, if they married. So yeah, it doesn't belong to the Martins anymore. I might got free room for the night. You never know. And yes, I thought I'm slightly ironic because Mitchell Priory used to be owned by the de Aguil family. That's why I'm pronouncing it anyway. Like I say, you can pronounce it any way you want. That's de Aguil. French, obviously, Gilbert de Aguil. I believe his grandfather, great-grandfather maybe, came over with William the Conqueror, and he was given lands in the area, profitable lands to make money. He didn't live there. No lord has ever lived there, which I'll get on to in a second. And there was a mill there and a farm there. I think when the Gales got there, it was probably just a mill, quite frankly. At its height, there was 2 or 3 mills, because there's a man-made river. It's cut off from a certain stream. Can't remember the name of the stream now. It might be a local river, maybe. And it flows through part of the site. It's kind of like an island, to tell the truth, Mitchell. There's I think it's a 14th century gate, fortified gatehouse there, which is stunning, which I've never actually been in to the top or anything. It's always been shut off while I've been there, which is unfortunate because that part's supposed to be haunted as well as the other sections. So Gilbert de Gale held it until around about the 1220s, and then he gave the land, the priory, the mills, to the Augustinian order, monastic order, and they would have had priests living there. Also, they would have had a bit of a seminary kind of thing there, where so they would have had young priests in training there as well. Not so much for monastic orders, but the big difference between a monk and a priest is a monk lives and stays inside a monastery. So when people say, "I saw the ghost of a monk in an old priory" or something like that, it's actually the ghost of a priest. And the priest is a person who goes out amongst the people and he preaches to them. And also, they stay in holy places for the most part as well, and you travel between monastic sites. And yeah, so when Henry VIII brought about the Reformation, we know that there was priests living there. I think it was something like 12 priests and about 15 novices, who were like young priests in training. But they were working there as lay priests as well, really. They were working the land. So there's quite a good record of actually breeding livestock, bulls especially, at at Michelham, and this goes back centuries. And the monks, the priests, would have been involved in that originally as well as earning money from the mills that were there. And they had various land disputes as well when they were under monastic orders with other local churches and other local landowners. The land boundary shouldn't be there; it should be over the inside the road, kind of thing. Things like that. Because people made money from the land. Cutting down trees for firewood. That made you money. Copse trees as well, so you could reuse the same tree, and then you cut it down. It kind of grows back, and then you can cut those down and do that year after year. So owning woodland will be quite profitable as well, even a small bit of woodland. So that's how they made the money in the medieval period all the way up till the Reformation. And then it was under the control of various people. I believe Thomas Culpeper actually owned it at one point. Now he was the chap who had an affair with Catherine Howard. Yes, Catherine Howard. The one who got her head chopped off. I believe it was given to him, and I believe it was owned by Anne of Cleves as well. I'm not too sure about that second one. I'll have to check. It's been a while since I've been there, but yeah, these famous people probably never even visited it. It was just rented out to lay farmers, basically tenants, and they would have worked the land and everything and given part of their income to the lord or the lady who held the land. For example, supposedly Thomas Sackville, who was a local earl or local lord, can't remember of where exactly now, maybe Hastings or something like that. He's supposedly been seen at the site living in the farmhouse. However, he wouldn't have lived there. Debatable whether he would have even visited there, quite frankly. You see what the dogs. You eating? Goodness. Give him a bit of broccoli about a day ago and I keep finding it, so maybe he's eating that. Do you like broccoli? Taking 2 days to eat it. Whatever it is, he's eating it. So where was it? So yeah, when I've been there, it's never really been spooky. It feels like home, I'll be quite honest. I like the place, you know what I mean? It just feels comfortable. There's a big barn there. It's been converted into a cafe. It's been very well done out as well. I wouldn't mind going during the day. A lot of the places I go to on the night looking for ghosts are places that I wouldn't mind going to during the day just to chill out and see what it's like during the day. I've been to places during the day and they've sometimes seemed a little bit more spookier than they are on the night. Tunbridge Castle was like that. Again, a pigs event, February last year, I believe, maybe the year before. I think it was last year. And yeah, I went round during the night. Another place where I've got ancestry at. Yeah, it's a bit weird. I assure you, a lot of the places I go to, the vast majority of the places I go to, I'm not related to any of the ancestors. Any of the people who used to live there, they're not my ancestors. But the 3 places I've just mentioned, I do. Tunbridge Castle, yeah, Gilbert the Red, the De Clare family, they're also in my ancestry. Yeah, went around on the night, a group of people, had a little bit of a solo vigil at one point. Felt fine, really, felt cushy. Went around during the day the next day and I was down in like the lowest part, which is where like the steward would have kept things like food and stuff like that, and weapons would have been kept there, stored there. And I swear to God, I'm sure I could hear a dog, like, not so much growling, but more like whimpering kind of growl, really. Wait for the dog to do it. Thank you. No, you're watching the TV screen because I'm on there. Yeah, and I got that, cold, shivery feeling up my spine kind of thing. Hairs on the back of my neck stand on end, because that's the only hairs I've got on my head apart from my beard. Yeah, just got that weird feeling when I was in there on my own the next day, middle of the day. It was a bit weird. And yeah, I'd like to go back to Mitchell during the day as well. You know, like I say, there's a cafe there. You know, have a walk around. Nice, nice flower, like in a garden. Nice little garden there. Forgot what garden was called there. Yeah. So that's in October, October 6th. Fingers crossed it won't be pissing down. I've been to a couple of years back. I went to New Haven at the beginning of October, and it was absolutely tossing down. It was like a little spiritual kind of event, kind of thing, which I'm not that into, I must admit. But it was run by some mates, and there was some other mates going. So I put myself on there, joined in and everything. It was good. I enjoyed it. Still don't think the spiritual side of it to me is, you know, it's not for me. I don't think there's much to it. I think it's a lot more psychological, and ghost signs are affected by a lot of things going on. But I'm still interested in it, you know what I mean? Very interested. So yeah, I enjoyed that day, and then we had a ghost tour around Brighton on the evening, around the lanes and things like that, like the older part of Brighton. And yeah, it was absolutely tipping down. I'm pretty sure I was just in the t-shirt and shorts. Being an order, you know, it wasn't actually cold to me, to tell the truth. It was, but it wasn't like a refreshing rain either. It was like a cold rain. And yeah, everybody else was like dressed in rain gear and, you know, Max and all that, and a couple of bullies spoken out here and there. And I was, they were all looking at me, and I'm like, well, it's fine. Yeah, typical northerner. And then I went back down. About, it was a fortnight later. Went out to Hastings. I think I might have stayed at a mate's house on that occasion. Kevin Ling. I know we went to Bodiam Castle that week, and well, it was the day I was coming home. I can't remember where we. I think we gone ghost hunting at St Mary's. No, it's the St Mary's in the Castle in Hastings, where it's like an old chapel. It's a theatre, and it's like dug into the cliffside kind of thing. I went there, and that place was brilliant. I love that place. Myself and, oh, she's gonna kill me. Oh, I can't remember her name now. Lovely woman. Karen Webster. Got you. Me and Karen were stood, and there was some fire doors, maybe 15 metres away from us, something like that, 20 metres, something. Glass fire doors, you can see straight through them. And everybody else was in a room just to the left of us, just around the corner. And it sounded exactly like someone grabbing the door and going do 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 on the door. We both looked at each other, both looked at the doors, and then we like kind of moved to the doors and all that and looked through, couldn't see anyone. That's what we heard, and it was really, really loud. Everybody else thought it was probably us or, you know, somebody else doing it, but like I say, myself and Karen, we were far too far away from the doors. Like I say, we both heard at the same time, both looked at each other. You know, it was weird. It was really good. And that whole place, you know, was quite interesting. You know, there's an old dressing room where, oh, this is really going to test my memory now because I can't remember. Muriel Mathers, who was an Australian women's activist, suffragette basically, turn of the century, 1910s. She was the very first person to bomb London. Yeah, in a hot air balloon. She threw pamphlets over the side of the hot air balloon to people below over London. Yeah, very interesting. The first person to bomb London was a suffragette from Australia. She was Australia, New Zealand, Australia. I'm sure it's Australia. And she was an actress as well, I believe. Or she lived, or did she just live right next door to the? I think she might have just lived right next door to the theatre, as it would have been then. Um, yeah, it's a beautiful, really weird chapel kind of thing. There's a font there, which is like a natural font from the water above on the cliff, and it comes down into a natural font. Um, I mean, one of the strangest things I've ever seen was there as well. Like, not some, I don't know, funny. I laughed anyway. Um, like, you're not allowed alcohol on ghost hunts. And this fella, I don't know if he can't have come in with the pint glass, because somebody would have said like, oh, you can't actually drink on these, and really you shouldn't drink before you come on them as well. Um, I've seen people kicked off events before they start because they've been seen in like the bar downstairs, if we're doing a pub, swigging on like pints kind of thing. I've seen that happen. And this there was a bar it's a theatre now, so there's like a sidebar kind of thing. This fella just went over and just filled his pint glass up with the lager in from the tap, and just went back to like the table. And that's when somebody said to him like, "No, you can't drink alcohol on these." He's like, "Oh, right, no idea." And I was like watching him like, "What's he doing? Has anybody seen this?" Yeah, it was weird as that. Yeah, great place. Yet another place I'd love to go back to. St Mary's in the Castle in Hastings. Um, so yeah, that's my paranormal um, plans for this year now. Gutted about Jersey, must admit. I was really looking forward to getting myself away. Really hoping for nice weather and everything, use it as a holiday as well. But alas, energy prices, my bills have skyrocketed like everybody else's. Um, Council tax, because I'm disabled, I shouldn't pay council tax, but this bill's come out of nowhere basically. I was 100% sure this time, at least last year, maybe the year before, that I was totally clear of debt. I'd paid like, I didn't really have that much debt to begin with, but I was like caught up and paid everything off. But it turns out not. It was a massive council tax bill, and I know I'm complaining about that, and I know everybody who grafts, 5 days a week, whatever, 9 to 5 and all that, they have to work and they have to pay council tax, and I don't have to work, so I do sound like a twat, but it's just more annoying than anything else. And I mean, BT as well today, I've just hit us with a fucking, they put my price up and up and up every week for the last 3 weeks now. So I've had to like sign a new kind of deal thing with them, which doesn't save me any money. But apparently, if you're disabled or if you're on benefits, you can get like a cheap rate broadband off them, which I had no fucking idea about. So I'll be seeing about that. So save a bit of money. Yeah, see what happens. We're all in the same boat with the bills and that going up, and food bills. I mean, Asda change their food prices every week. It's ridiculous, it really is. Yeah, crazy. But just got to get through it, haven't we? It's like ball ache. It's not right either, what I mean? It's all getting blamed on the war in Ukraine, but I don't really want to go into that. But yeah, it's crazy. It's just mental. It's just another excuse to get a few quid out of people, and that's how I see it anyway. Righty, so hopefully the people that watch this know me, and they've seen me ghost hunts and things in the past, and say hello and everything. And if you mention that you see me on YouTube and all that, and I just come say hello. I'm a bit of a dickhead, must admit. But I'm a nice dickhead, I think. I'd do anything for anyone until they piss me off, and then they're just, dead to me. Dead, yeah. So, on that note, before the dog falls asleep while I sleep, ciao for now.